One of the downsides of living in a mid-sized television market like Kansas City is that you get all these nomads coming into your TV stations. They work as a reporter for 6 months, a year, 2 years. They go up, they go down, but they're soon out the door on their way. Kansas City, for most reporters, TV reporters, is just a way station to the next stop. That's why we get reporters like this telling stories like you're about to see, as if this story has no context, as if this story has no history, as if large-scale black mob violence is not a regular thing on the plaza in Kansas City.
Yeah, well, what started all of this remains a mystery, but witnesses we talked to say that there was a lot of screaming, yelling, and running all over the place. Emergency vehicles swarming the plaza Saturday night after what witnesses called a chaotic scene.
There were a lot of teenage kids just everywhere.
One witness, who only wanted to be identified as CJ, says she was sitting at a red light near 47th and Main when a group of delinquents started kicking and jumping on her car.
One of the kids flipped me off, gave me the middle finger. They started making gang signs with their hands.
She was able to get away and found a KCPD officer who she says told her there was mayhem on the plaza.
I said, "Oh, so you know about it?" And she said, "Yeah, there are kids just beating up people. There will probably be kids going to jail tonight." Fox
4 confirmed that at least 3 people were assaulted on or near the plaza Saturday night, including a Cheesecake Factory employee on his way home from work.
We just thought, oh my gosh, when are the bullets going to start flying? And I told my kids, I said, if something starts going off, hit the ground.
Deborah Bryan was headed to dinner with her family. They own a condo at Parkway Towers just blocks from where the scene was unfolding.
It was just like this 40 kids, all looked preteen, teen, and they were screaming and yelling at the police officers.
Some of those officers had what appeared to be cans of pepper spray, but a KCPD spokesperson says there are no reports that the spray was ever used.
We didn't see anybody get taken down. We didn't see anybody being roughed up, but it was just like a pack of wild kids.
Deborah says the whole scene was enough for her family to question whether they should keep their condo in the area or sell it.
We don't want any part of this. We're not judging the kids, but it was just not appropriate.
Well, one manager, a restaurant manager I talked to, says that he has never been as scared to be at work than he was on Saturday night. Now, the city does have a curfew in place for its 5 entertainment district, which includes the plaza, but that's only effective during the summer months. Live in Kansas City, Zach Summers, Fox 4 News.
You know, we've been writing and documenting this mayhem and violence, black mayhem and violence on the mall at Kansas City for a long time, and the plaza at Kansas City for a long time. It's an entertainment district with a plaza surrounded by lots of restaurants. By all accounts, it's a pretty nice place.
Tonight, there is trouble on Kansas City's front door, the Country Club Plaza. For 2 Saturdays in a row, large groups of young teens have been roaming the streets causing trouble. And now it's reached critical mass. Michael Mahoney has the latest on the story. Michael?
Laura, for some teenagers, young teenagers, the plaza has now become the in-place to be on Saturday nights. These tweeners, many of them too young to drive, still find a way down to the plaza, and they're arriving down here in huge numbers, in some cases intimidating and frightening some plaza customers, certainly worrying the merchants. Those merchants are worried because of what you're about to see. Watch this. This is silent cell phone video of a mean little fight between some teenage girls on the plaza Saturday night. Fights like this broke out all over the place as hundreds of young teens gathered on the plaza.
They were walking around the plaza. There had to have been hundreds of them.
Corey Johnson was working as a waiter Saturday night. He says between the heavy police presence trying to control the crowd and the thumping of the police helicopter blades overhead overseeing the roving bands of kids,
they're being pretty disruptive. I heard, as far as the yelling goes, that's where the disruptiveness was coming from.
Was it uncomfortable down here on Saturday night?
It was a little tense, I would say so.
And that's really how I would characterize what happened. Young people behaving badly.
According to the Saturday night police report, by 10, the situation was at a flashpoint. Citizens were complaining about being shoved and pushed and intimidated by the large group of kids roaming the streets. A couple leaving the Cheesecake Factory. The boy in a tux, the girl in a prom dress, ran into part of the group. She was pushed into the fountain. They got away. Through much of today, there were a series of meetings underway to address the problem. The plaza's owners, Highwood Property, says this is a serious matter and they are working with the city and the police to get it under control.
We had a plan in place for about 200 to 300 people. We had 750 to 1,000, so we're going to be anticipating that this weekend.
So look for a heavy police presence on the Country Club Plaza when it comes to this Saturday night, because hundreds of young teens seem to be making their way down here and causing some problems, and the police and the city and the plaza just won't have it. We're live on the plaza. Back to you.
Michael, thank you. And of course, a lot of reaction on our website about this recent trouble on the plaza. One person writes, if we can't even go out with our families and feel safe at the plaza, how in the world would we have ever felt safe out there with this type of behavior going on? And another whose daughter was there says clearly, cowards run in packs. There is no other way to explain 8 to 10 girls jumping on 3. And finally, here's a simple solution. No more unsupervised teenagers on the plaza. And a problem.
A city councilman says tonight he's getting complaints that police used too much force on the plaza last weekend. The complaints say police pepper sprayed young blacks on the plaza who were not causing the trouble. That charge is not sitting well with the police chief tonight. KMBC 9's Michael Mahoney has the latest from the plaza. Michael?
Larry, that charge is coming from City Councilman John Sharp, and the rebuttal is coming from Police Chief Jim Corwin. He says they have received no complaints about this. Take a look. This is amateur video from a cell phone of last Saturday night on the plaza. The video clearly showing some in a teenage crowd estimated to be in the hundreds who were out of control. Police used pepper spray to restore the order, and City Councilman John Sharp says he's received complaints about the use of too much force.
There are reports, and I don't know why people would make these up, that some of the pepper spray use was excessive.
I do that because normally people are not afraid to call my office and give me complaints.
And Corwin says his office has received no complaints. Channel 9, however, has obtained copies of 2 complaints sent to Sharp's office. One says they were pepper spraying indiscriminately. It continues, my dinner group felt that things got worse after the police arrived. We felt they only escalated the problem. And another complaint says, my nephew was walking his girlfriend home when a KC policeman approached, yelled, move along, then pepper sprayed him, turned and left in his patrol car, leaving my nephew on the ground covered in pepper spray.
Very proud of my officers. They did a wonderful job. Actually, they were ahead of the curve.
Meaning the police were already in place on the plaza because there had been reports of trouble with a much smaller crowd of teens a week earlier. And on one spot on this video, it is clear that a uniformed officer is passed by a group of teens, some of them the same people involved in the fighting shown earlier in this report, and there's no pepper spray here. Still, Sharp wonders if another part of town would get the same treatment.
I'd certainly like to be able to see in my neighborhood, where we've been plagued by home burglaries, the same kind of police response we saw down on the plaza.
Now, Sharp says he will turn his complaint information over to the chief's office. The chief says their policy on trouble like this, if it reoccurs, is going to be that the officers will be firm, fair, and compassionate. He also says they are ready for trouble if it does return here to the plaza or anywhere else around the city next weekend. We're live on the plaza. Back to you.
Michael Mahoney, thank you very much.
But they build it near like a huge they build it near the hood. So every once in a while, a whole bunch of black people flood into the Kansas City Plaza, creating enormous amounts of violence, mayhem, and chaos. We documented that both in White Girl Bleed a Lot and Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. That's how much of it there was. I mean, we first started doing this, the solution was, we'll get a new police chief, he'll fix it up, and that didn't work. So they got a new mayor. The guy's name is Sly Sylvester. And he came in. He goes, in his campaign, he's going, oh yeah, we're going to clean that up in 6 months. That was like 6 years ago. He's on the plaza within his first couple weeks of office. He's just down there walking around. His bodyguards had to push him into the bushes because a couple other fellas were exchanging gunfire like 50 feet from him. They didn't give a damn about the mayor, the chief of police, or anything like that. So many videos out there. We've documented this so many times. They're talking about pepper spray out there. Hell, we've got videos where the guys were pepper spraying from horseback, like a fire hose. And every time they actually find some of the teenagers, they say, well, why are you doing this? Oh, we're bored. We don't have anything else to do. Apparently in Kansas City, those are your only 2 choices. A, go to the plaza and become extremely violent, or explode from spontaneous combustion. And they've gone through so many iterations of this. My favorite one was when they put a curfew on to fight this on the summer weekend nights. They put a curfew on, and the first 35 people arrested were black people. So the black city councilman stands up and goes, "Hey, this is unfair. Why aren't you arresting any white people down there? Because I know lots of white people are violating the curfew down there." A couple days later, a white girl's walking out of a movie theater at the plaza waiting for her mom outside the theater. The cops come and give her a ticket for violating the curfew. In the meantime, this just keeps happening over and over and over, not just on the plaza, but on the neighborhoods surrounding the plaza. And what the hell was up with that lady? See, well, I can't blame her totally, because if she's relying on local news for her news, she wouldn't know all the stuff that happens, not just in the plaza, but in the neighborhood surrounding the plaza, all the condos out there. It is white people are targets of large-scale black violence and robbery and mayhem in the plaza, outside of the plaza, going to the plaza, going from the plaza. We've documented that a ton. And now she's going, "Well, I don't want to judge the teenagers." What are you, stupid? Of course we have to judge them. If you're living down there and you have a family, you better be a judge of people who are living near you, or else you're putting your family in danger on a level that ascends to child abuse very quickly. I don't want to judge them. Oh, it's a mystery what happened on the plaza with the teenagers. Good Lord, where do we get these reporters? Where do we get these idiots? Witnesses. When are we going to start speaking plainly about this in Kansas City and lots of other places? I guess that'll happen on the day we stop caring about making the black kids angry.